Hey guys, Day here. I farmed 150 tier 16 summit maps, tactically juiced up with Legion Scarabs as efficiently as I could, and tracked my profits. In this video, I'll talk about my loot, break down the details of this currency farming strategy, and share many important considerations if you want to try something similar yourself. What I will say first and foremost is that mimicking this strategy requires a very strong character, and this video is intended for players that have a fair bit of experience under their belt. But whether you're a multi-year veteran or a player in their very first league, I've made sure this video will share some valuable insights and maybe provide a new goal to strive for. Basically, I ran two tests. The first and most important was that I ran 50 tier 16 summit maps with Gilded Legion Scarabs, 3 sacrifice fragments, and Zana's Legion modifier every map on an Awakened 8 level atlas. These maps were fully chiseled, alked, valved, ran with Awakened Sextants, and Plague of Frogs prophecies whenever possible. In these 50 maps, I profited over 2,700 chaos, about 55 chaos a map, and easily over 500 chaos per hour, including the time it takes to sell the items. It took me around 5 hours and 15 minutes total to do all this. For a detailed breakdown of the loot and how I calculated profits, I've linked a detailed spreadsheet in the description because I'll just be glossing over the loot in general. A huge amount of profit comes from the raw amount of Legion splinters and emblems you obtain. These are always highly sought after because players use them to run 5-way Legion encounters for leveling and massive loot. I've also got a few high value drops, a large amount of raw currencies, and some other smaller items. These 3 stash tabs of loot seen here formed all the calculated profit, but it isn't all that actually dropped. I also got tons of red maps, essences, and other loot seen here, all of which add hundreds of chaos in inherent value, but none of which were included in my profit calculations to simplify things and because I hate selling maps. I also ran 100 more tier 16 summit maps set up in the same way, but this time with rusted Legion Scarabs and Zana's Beyond modifier instead. I won't talk on this too much, but the main point of these additional 100 maps was to show that even if you're running maps with just a single run-of-the-mill basic Legion encounter, you can still earn huge profits. While not as efficient in profit as the Gilded double Legion strategy, this still earns me over 300 chaos an hour and is a strategy much more accessible to most players. The loot and data from this testing are linked in the description as well. So why is there such a huge profit running Gilded Legion Scarabs with Zana's Legion mod? Basically, every Legion encounter can spawn 2 opposing Legion armies, and under normal conditions, like with a basic rusted Legion Scarab or a random Legion encounter, tons of monsters spawn and there is a small chance for a War Horde chest and a smaller chance for a unique Legion boss to spawn for each of the 2 armies. War Hordes and Legion bosses drop a much larger amount of loot than rare monsters or basic chests. The thing is, Gilded Legion Scarabs don't just add a Legion pylon to the map, but also ensure every Legion army on the map contains a boss encounter and a War Horde chest. Therefore, by using Zana's Legion modifier and a Gilded Scarab, totaling 2 Legion pylons with 4 armies a map, it results in every single map containing 4 Legion bosses and a minimum of 4 War Horde chests. Every single one of these dropping tons of Legion splinters, raw currencies, and much more. Therefore, by combining the inherent value of running high quantity, sextanted tier 16 maps on an Awakened 8 level atlas with at least 4 Legion bosses and 4 war chests a map, we end up with a high-end mapping strategy that is not only hugely profitable and efficient, but grants tons of experience and is a lot of fun. Every single map was filled with so much loot, it took me almost as long to pick everything up as it did to clear the map in the first place. If you're lucky enough to land the area has an additional Legion encounter sextant modifier, or get a natural 3rd Legion pylon to spawn in, you get 3 total Legion pylons spawning, killing 6 Legion bosses a map for even more overwhelming profits. I chose to run the tier 16 summit map for 2 main reasons. Firstly, it's a huge open map with lots of room for the Legion pylons to spawn lots of monsters. This space requirement is a must, as you need to not only spawn many monsters to maximize loot gain, but you also need to easily access monsters to kill them quickly. The downside being is that the map boss is a two-phase fight, but there is a room with many rare and magic monsters between, which helps restore flasks and keep up buffs. Secondly, Summit is one of the easiest maps to obtain in bulk. Currently, you can use Horizon Orbs on tier 16 maps, and they will only transform into one of three maps: Carcass, Promenade, or Summit. Therefore, I could obtain a bulk supply without needing to trade for maps individually. I used Awakened Sextants and made sure they were kept up every 3 maps. I ensured the Sextant had modifiers that added more monster packs to the map, or gave another highly sought after beneficial modifier. Notably, Awakened Sextant were used over the cheaper alternatives because they could roll for more monsters and had rare modifiers, such as Nemesis monsters drop 3 additional currencies or area contains additional Legion encounters. Now, I chose to run Plague of Frogs Prophecies purely out of habit, which adds additional monsters to the map that can potentially drop items. In retrospect, if I were to run any prophecies, it would have likely been better to run prophecies that add Tempest to the map, increasing the amount of quantity on the map by 30% and therefore increasing the amount of Legion Splinters and raw currencies that drop. I also equipped incubators that dropped as I went along. Now, while this strategy is highly profitable, it's got many limitations. Firstly, with Gilded Legion Scarabs currently at around 33 chaos and on the rise, it costs over 45 chaos on average per map to run my setup, which is a pretty high barrier to entry. Additionally, in order to profit from this map at a similar rate as I do, you need to not only be able to clear very difficult tier 16 maps, but you need to have a build that can reliably complete the Legion encounters. That means spawning both very tanky Legion bosses, shattering all the miscellaneous chests, and killing all the monsters associated with it within a very limited time frame. There are many builds that are capable of clearing these legions, and it's obviously made easier if you have a headhunter, but it's not necessary. 2 builds at the moment I know would successfully run these legions are Cast on Crit builds or Ice Shot Barrage builds. I've linked in the description a couple builds I think would be viable to choose from, although obviously there are many others capable of doing this. I know I'll get a lot of questions about my personal build, so I've linked my profile in the description so you can take a look at it, but I do not recommend you run my build. Ice Shot and Cast on Crit are objectively better, and I'm running a Kinetic Blast Wander build just for fun. Now, with any strategy publicly publicized, there's always a bit of a shift in how profitable it can be. While I was making this video, another player, Nathan Walker, released a great video that covered several currency farming strategies, including sharing the value of Gilded Legion Scarabs in a similar way this video does, which I believe has caused a bit of a shift in the market. I know from experience with my popular Harbor Bridge and Delve video from last year and my Blight video earlier this league that this video might make this particular strategy slightly less profitable than before I released it. However, I also know from experience that these strategies always remain very profitable, because these highly profitable strategies only exist in the first place for very good reasons, namely because there are big markets that need it. Even if Legion Scarabs shoot up to over 40 plus chaos and emblems plummet in value another 15%, you're still earning over 400 chaos an hour and over 40 chaos per map on average. If you run master missions, sell the red maps, and level gems along the way, which I didn't do, you're making even more profit per map than that. Furthermore, even if there is a sudden spike in excitement about a particular farming method, the hype always dies down later on, and this strategy will certainly remain incredibly effective barring any major nerfs. Don't let subtle shifts in price scare you away if you really want to try something that looks fun. If you have the currency base, it never hurts to try, and if you're a player with less to invest in maps, try starting out with Zana's only 6 Chaos Legion modifier or Polished Legion Scarabs and see how you like it. I guarantee you'll still be profiting on average. While there's a lot of data and figures in this video, the most important thing isn't profit per hour or how many mirrors you get, but how much fun you actually have. I ran this strategy first and foremost because legions are a ton of fun and they grant huge amounts of experience. Whether you end up deciding to do a strategy with any similarity to this or not, hopefully you were able to learn something new or found some entertainment from this video. I know we covered a whole lot and very briefly, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the comments and I'll do my very best to lend a helping hand. In any case, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.